So welcome to a Level Up and Thrive. I'm so excited for us to kick off this epic event. We're starting with mindset because success in anything we do starts with mindset. What we're going to do as well, I want to do take a moment and take a breath and just welcome yourself and give yourself permission to lean in on everything you're going to hear today. I just want to give you guys a little sense of the why behind this event. And one of the speakers on stage, she doesn't know this, but when I was thinking about how do I help serve, how do I help empower, how do I help encourage, and I came across this speaker. And she was talking about her book that was launching. And she was talking about, and she had a speaker reel. She probably knows when I say the speaker reel what that is, right? She was talking about how do you launch your business and how do you have the right mindset and everything that you need. And she shared this statistic about 2.2 million women in 2020 in the US moved into entrepreneurship. 2.2 between February and October. Charlene Walters, remember? That's all you. But you shared that. And I loved it. And I was listening. And I was like, oh my goodness, that's a whole lot of folks coming into the space. And when you think about those folks, this is coming into their year two. And what happens in year two in business? That's when we bump up against a lot of the obstacles, right? That's when your mindset goes like you start to overthink. You start to have those limiting beliefs, right, Lisa? Because Lisa is all about limiting beliefs. You start to have a lot of those beliefs, your belief systems getting bumped up against. And this was some of the inspiration on why we put this event together. And then this event just started exploding on itself. Like other speakers started inviting like this person would be great. So now we have 40 plus speakers here to support you. Now, we're not just talking about folks that is in the starter bucket. We're not talking about just folks in the momentum. We're talking about folks that if you're ready to scale your business, you're still in the right place. All of this is going to happen in this event because we have these powerhouse here today to lean in and to be mentors with you on this journey. So I'm excited. So before we kick it off, let me just take a moment and have these speakers that's sitting here on the Zoom roundtable, you see in their beautiful faces right now, have them do a quick intro of themselves, because who can do a better introduction of themselves than yourself? So I'm going to start right here with Lisa Latimer. Lisa, why don't you do a quick radio introduction of yourself, and then we're just going to go down the line to Charlene, to Jackie, to Adrienne, to Jennifer, and to Terry. So let's get this party started.
Sounds great. So my name is Lisa Latimer. I'm a business mindset coach, and I help online female entrepreneurs make those mental and emotional shifts that attract more clients, money, and help them make a big impact. I help you lead with that big soul energy.
That was nice and quick.
I love that. So, Charlene, the floor is yours.
I don't know if I'm going to be that quick, but I'll try. My name is Dr. Charlene Walters, and I'm a business and branding mentor. I'm also a consultant, trainer. I'm the author of the book that Felecia was so kind to mention, Launch Your Inner Entrepreneur, which just came out. It's about entrepreneurial mindset from women from McGraw-Hill. And I'm also a writer. I write a lot. I contribute a lot to different places. I'm an expert on Entrepreneur Magazine's Ask an Expert platform. And I also just recently launched a TV show called Launch, where I interview business experts and different people and professionals to help you kind of elevate your life. And thank you so much for allowing me to be here, Felecia. I'm super excited.
I'm excited you're here with us. Jackie, the floor is yours.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. My name is Jackie Woodside. I'm a USA Today best-selling author as of last week of a book called, Your Younger Self Letters. Anyway, and I've written 3 books, 25 curriculums. I'm a coach and professional development trainer. I work with people around raising their vibe, teaching people about their money vibe, their productivity vibe, which basically means your level of consciousness, how to level up and thrive by raising your vibe, raising your consciousness. And I teach people how to do that around time, money, and life itself.
All right, I'm going to jump in. So my name is Terry Wade, and I'm a spiritual life coach for lady entrepreneurs, and I teach people how to step into the best and highest version of themselves so they can really live out a life of their dreams and getting clarity on what that means for them. And then, yeah, raising your vibration, getting in the energy. I feel like a lot of us have similar, like I think like attracts like, so we're all here doing that. So that's what I help ladies do, is step into the best version of themselves so they can grow the successful business and have the lifestyle that they desire.
Adrian?
Hi, good morning. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Adrienne Enns, and I'm the founder of May No Joy Incorporated. I think that we are best known for our intention card products. Our mission is to create simple, beautiful inspiration that you can tap into every day to inspire your most intentional living. I've also written a book on the topic called Intentional Days, host a podcast, have a membership. So however people want to come to this, we've got a platform for them. And I think we talk in my interview with Felecia, I came to all of this through my recovery from addiction. So I've been sober for 9 years, and that's what taught me to choose myself. And I'm all about reminding people, no matter where they are in their journey, that it's the simple, intentional choices that they make every day that make all the difference.
Love that. Let's go to Jennifer to round it out. Jennifer?
Hi, I'm Jennifer Blair from Louisville, Kentucky. I own Excavate Coaching and Consulting. Excavate means to excavate your life. I have been a veteran life coach for almost 18 years. I'm an international speaker and a 4-time author. I'm the international best-selling author, co-author of Women Who Boss Up. And I also have published 3 of my own books, The True You Reimagined and The True You Workbook I just did last year. And my work is all about empowering people, empowering women all over the country to be the best version of themselves. Mine's very values-based. It's all about authenticity and taking that authenticity and really putting that out there into the world and making it come alive, to go have great impact, to self-care, to have self-care, and to have this amazing, huge, impactful life in the world. Thank you.
You are so welcome. I'm so excited to have these powerhouse women on stage with us. Now you guys see why we're so adamant that we need to do this live. We can't just have pre-recorded videos going out. You need to feel their energy, their vibe, and start to just like level up with them and just learn some of the strategies that's going to allow you to just go faster without some of the ups and downs, because we've gone through it, right? They've gone through it, right? We don't want you to experience it. So this is going to be so epic for you. What we're going to be diving into is how to strengthen your mindset so you can take courageous actions while ditching the overwhelm and embracing the millionaire mindset. So I am Felecia Etienne. I am your guide as we go through this epic adventure together. I am a certified peak performance coach. I'm also a certified Jack Canfield success principles coach and trainer. I want to jump right into this and respect and say thank you to all the speakers that's here and open up the conversation. So when we talk about mindset, I know all of you guys invested your time to do some recordings for this audience, and you went deep in those where you talked about some of the pivotal things with mindset. I would like us to just start with maybe Charlene. And Charlene, if you can just share with us, right, what are some of the things when you think about the mindset and to retrain ourselves to get to that next level? What would be some of the tips and strategies you would share from your perspective? And then maybe we can go to Jackie next.
Definitely. There are so many things that we need to do, but success and mindset are strongly correlated. So it's all about setting your goals, organizing your time, making sure that you're taking care of yourself also along your journey, and then coming up with ways to pivot and reset when you hit those obstacles and snags. Because as we all know, as business owners, we'll hit them, we'll face failure, we'll hit obstacles, we'll hit rejection, and we have to find a way to come out of it. I'm not saying that you can't feel bad, you can't feel sorry for yourself. Of course you will. You wouldn't be human if you're not, but you have to find a way to get out of it because you can get stuck in it, and you have to just keep going. it's so dangerous today, that we see all these success stories. We think it's easy just to become this multimillionaire entrepreneur, right? And it's not that way. Nobody's posting on Instagram about all the things that have happened that are bad. Nobody is, sharing the rejections that they've got. I know for me, some of the strategies that I use to kind of reset or to take an hour off, spend some time with my kids, get some exercise, get some fresh air, and to try to squeeze in vacations every now and again. Because as an entrepreneur, we don't want to. Our business is our baby. We want to devote all of our time to it, but it helps to kind of come back and reset. So many things to do, but I think among the most important are that tenacity, that resilience, that ability to just keep moving forward.
Love that perspective. Yeah, we're all on this journey together, and a lot of times we tend to try to do everything, right? And not taking the time to pace ourselves. I love Jackie's perspective. Jackie's all about the vibe and all about the money vibe as well. And one thing that we've noticed as of having these conversations with entrepreneurs, once we start to scale our business, then we start to have some of those limiting beliefs around money. So Jackie, when you think about this from your perspective, being an expert in this field, what would be some of the strategies you would tell an entrepreneur, whether they're in the startup bucket or they're trying to scale, as to their relationship with money?
It's an awesome question. Thank you, Felecia. And Felecia, I just want to celebrate you and congratulate you on putting together this, awesome event and the people that you brought together. So thank you for that. Yeah, so I'm so glad you're opening this experience by talking about mindset, because as within, so without. Right? So write that down. We hear that phrase, as within, so without, and it can become kind of trite. So what that means and what you need to understand about money is that money is just an energy. We call it currency. Currency means to flow. So money is always flowing into my life and out of my life. The only challenge occurs is that when you get attached to the way that that's supposed to look. So your money vibe, the vibratory pattern of your beliefs, emotions, attitudes, and thoughts. So I want to be really specific what I mean by money vibe, because it's easy to just think, oh, well, I have to feel good about money, or I can't have limiting beliefs. No, you are going to have limiting beliefs. Did you get that? You are going to have limiting beliefs. For all of us speakers, right? So let me just ask you, in the last week, have you had a fear and anxiety and angst about money, a concern about money that crossed through your head? Would you just raise your hands if you had that experience? Okay, good. Look, this is the expert panel, right? Look, we are here. What that means, and then you relate to like, oh no, I'm hurting my vibe, I'm hurting my money vibe. No, all you have to do is be like, oh, human being. There it goes again. Human experience. And just don't get attached to the fact that you occasionally, or maybe often, have angst, fear, worry, upset about money. So it's fine, and the more that you elevate your beliefs, emotions, attitudes, and thoughts, and if anybody's paying attention, that spells beat, beliefs, emotions, attitudes, and thoughts. Your beat creates your vibe. As you elevate your beliefs, emotions, attitudes, and thoughts by practicing awareness, noticing the thought, that's the catch it, being able to feel the feeling, acknowledge the thought, but then reframe it, challenge it, talk back to it. I have a snarky, kind of angel and devil. My snarky side says, you've been saying that since you were 12. Can't you do any better than that? Oh, that one again? Really? You said that yesterday. That was last week's worry. Can you get more creative? So that's how I talk back to myself. Some people have more of the inner child, like, oh, it's okay. You can have that, whatever. However, I'm more of an ass kicker than a hand holder. So however you do that, but the second phase is to challenge your inner limiting belief. Just talk back to it, debunk it. Is that the life you want to be creating? Thank you, Sabina. Where's that going to be leading? Right? So challenge it. Step number 2. And then the third step of how to raise your vibe is to change it to the inner dialogue that you want to have. I freaking do this the other day. Let me just give you an example. Last Friday, what's today? Monday, Tuesday? God, I don't even know. Monday. On Friday, I was taking my mom grocery shopping on Friday afternoon. My mom's 83 years old, lives alone, so I help her out a lot when I'm up here in the summers at my summer home. And it's so funny, it's this moment, right? I'm pushing my grocery cart through the parking lot, going over to where my mom is in the car because she just can't walk around the store. And I'm thinking to myself, you're such a loser. It's a Friday afternoon. Here you are grocery shopping with your mother. You should be on a podcast. You should be on a coaching call. Why aren't I why don't I have more going on? Why am I doing this on a Friday afternoon? And so then I'm like, it's so funny. You teach this stuff, right? So write this down. Be careful not to believe everything you think. Be careful not to believe everything you think, because what you think isn't the truth. It's just what you think, right? So I said that to myself. You teach this stuff. Be careful not to believe everything you think. And immediately I was able to be like, hello, this is success. You're out grocery shopping with your mother in the middle of a work day, not being tied down to a job, to an office, to somebody else telling me how to use my time. Immediately reframe that, raised my vibe immediately, greeted my mother with laughter and enjoyment, and spent the rest of the afternoon with her. That's how you apply this catch it, challenge it, change it, 3 C's formula: catch it, challenge it, change it, because be careful not to believe everything you think.
Oh, that was so powerful. And I hope everyone is taking notes. So if you're not taking notes, make sure you get a notebook, start writing all these great nuggets down. And our VIPs who are listening, you guys got a playbook for yourself, a workbook. Leverage your workbook, capture all of this. I want to go over, let's stay to the top row. I want to go to Lisa. So Lisa is all about in making sure we bring a level of intention to what we do. Lisa and Adrienne also talks about this, but they have such different spins, and I can't wait for the discussion to go there. So Lisa, bring to the audience like a little bit of why it's sometimes so important for us to take time to be intentional when all those stories, right, start to come in, when all that limiting beliefs start to come in, and then you're starting to get deflated, like, oh no, I can't do this anymore, or I can't scale there because this person, and it's like, oh my gosh. And then the other thing we had, guys, so excited about this. Lisa talked about sometimes we get so tied into trying the strategy. Oh, I need to know the next strategy. If I'm going to be able to grow this business, if I don't know this strategy, if I don't implement this, and you're taking 10 million courses, Lisa was talking about, Lisa, talk to us about that. Give them a little bit of that essence. Why, when you think about mindset, it's so important to get yourself centered, and some of the strategies, just high level strategies there, Lisa, and then we'll go to Adrienne next, because I think Adrienne, I love what she brings.
Okay, thank you for that question. So just a quick background, because I know I flew through my introduction, but I am kind of like, I went through the school of hard knocks on this. So I endured over 10 years of narcissist abuse relationships from about 16 to 28 years old. And I self-healed. I cut through those weeds myself. And a lot of that, what that was increasing my self-awareness and becoming really in tune to what Jackie was talking about earlier, which is that inner dialogue, right? And becoming the control of that internal dialogue. So my self-talk, once I got out of those relationships and I was thinking, okay, I'm free, you know, I'm going back to school, I'm doing all of these things that are helping me level up and thrive. But I would get into these moments where I said, you know, son of a gun, like my internal dialogue, a lot of it is mimicking the voices and the sentiments of those people who were, you know, manipulating me and who I was in those toxic relationships with. So I had gotten out of those situations, but with my mindset and my internal dialogue, I was still very much dealing with it. And what Jackie said is also so true. You don't, you know, we like to believe that our limiting beliefs are kind of like an ant that we could just step on and crush, right under our heels. That's not how it works. You know, there's a saying, every next level brings the same devil, right? So you will deal, and your limiting beliefs in your personal life, they will come and manifest themselves differently. They'll put on a different mask in your professional and business endeavors, you know? So it's really important. One of the tools that I love that I spoke to Felecia about, to go from like that autopilot to intentionality, is reflective journaling. When I started journaling and getting, you know, going back to certain situations that stood out, that left me feeling really deflated, I found that when I picked up that pen and I went back and revisited it with a different perception and did a reframe, a conscious, mindful reframe, I put the power back into my hands, and I was able to rewrite and take control of something that happened to me in a moment where I was feeling completely out of control. So there is a lot of power when you take time to find this degree of stillness, when you find this stillness and this ability to retreat within. Because I'll tell you something, you are a lot more resourceful than you think that you are. And the answers are within you. And it's amazing how picking up a pen and being a little still and reflective brings out that internal knowledge, all of those nuggets that are sitting there, just waiting for you to create that time, that stillness and that shut off from the external noise and bring out. And when you get it onto paper, that journal then becomes this log of, well, no, you aren't this, you did this. Like Jackie said before, also, it becomes your proof to the contrary. Oh, I'm not motivated. Oh, I can't do this. Or I can't make above a certain amount of money. You start looking through, and in my program that I have, I help you look through. If you can't find the examples within yourself, you look for examples that prove your BS self-talk and limiting beliefs, the proof to the contrary elsewhere. And then you start to take the actions where you start to create your own proof to the contrary. So all of this with the journaling serves to build your self-awareness and get you off of that autopilot, so that all of those that flood of, I can't, I won't, this is going to be too hard, it doesn't hit you all at once. You have a way of pumping the brakes on it and bringing it back and getting in control of the situation and of your mindset around it.
So good as well. So good. And I was just taking a little notes here. So some of the things you're talking about, I'm not even going to give it away because you need to go watch the recording, because she goes a lot deeper in the recording. So Jackie, thanks for bringing that. Now I want to go down to Adrienne. Adrienne, thank you for your level of transparency you shared early on, but also what you brought when you did your recording. And you talked about how critical it is, how intentionality is like one of the foundational things if we're going to do this, right? Because with this on this roller coaster of a ride, take us from there. Talk to us a little about the why behind that, and some quick things, that strategies that this audience can take away.
Sure. And it's just an honor to follow all of these people and be part of this conversation, because we are all saying the same thing from different perspectives and just offering different facets and wisdom. So it's like being a kid in the candy store this afternoon. So for me, being intentional means like we're choosing how we're going to show up. So like Lisa said, we can get so easily caught up in the rush and the chaos and the autopilot, like just racing from one thing to the next. But especially as entrepreneurs, like really pausing and asking ourselves, like, why am I doing this? You know what I mean? Why am I doing this professionally? Why am I doing this as a person? How do I want to show up in this world? And this is why I create cards, because I like just simple ways to come back. They're just a tool. You could use a Post-it note. You could use a piece of jewelry, something to remind you to come back into the moment. And as the women earlier described, be really aware, like what is really going on around me? And with this information, what am I going to choose to do? And one of the things I know that we talked about in the video is I just think your morning practice, how you start anything, is what really makes a huge difference. So even, especially, do not grab your phone first off. I know it's hard for me too. But take a minute, 5 minutes to just breathe, connect with yourself, be grateful for the morning, be grateful for this fresh start, and just ask yourself, like, what is my intention for the day? Maybe you have a project that you have to do, or you have a tough conversation, or you need to go to the bank and ask for money. Like, how do you want to show up? Maybe you want to be powerful. Maybe you want to be kind. Maybe you want to be open. It could be anything, but by choosing this, you're setting your course. And then by choosing to realign with it throughout the day, throughout the course, however long the course, that's how you stay in alignment. So just, and be on your own side, as they talked about earlier. Yeah, like things are, I think you said in the second year, things go sideways. I don't know, that's been true in year 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 for me. So, you know, you just keep course correcting and learning and choosing to move forward, and having good people around you with similar mindsets that can help you when you're stuck.
That is such a great point that you brought out, because sometimes we think in the beginning of the journey, we expect it to be a little rocky, right? We're learning, we're growing, we're failing forward, we're doing all of this. But the reality is the journey continues, right? At every single level, I've been hearing common themes. And this is why I'm so excited to get you guys on a panel, because a lot of times we're thinking that the strategy or the message has to be so out there, right? But the reality is, sometimes it's a simple thing that we're not consistently executing that's a difference maker, and that's our mindset, right? If we don't get this part taken care of, we don't get some of the beliefs, or getting comfortable with fear, we'll continue to struggle. And I want to just talk about fear for a second, because this speaker, when we were having our conversation around fear, she did something really powerful, and she talked about how that just helped her get her confidence to the next level. It helped her fire up different things within her business. And you know who that is, right? Miss Jennifer Blair. So I wanted Jennifer, if you can talk to the audience a little bit about how you embrace fear, and that's a critical piece to the mindset that you have, that powerful mindset you were able to create for yourself.
Great, thank you. And I just want to say, I'm so grateful to be on this panel with all the speakers. I feel like everything we're saying is sort of building on each other, and so many of the practices that everyone is discussing and talking about, like, yes, I do that too, or that's something I tell my client. And so I can just tell you that everything that everyone is saying, it works. It is embrace these things, try these things for yourself, because they're fantastic. So yes, about fear. One of the things we did talk about fear, but before I talk a little bit about that, one of the things I want to say is that I think what's important that has not been said, at least for the work that I do, it's really about knowing who you are and being really solid in that. You know, knowing what your values are, because your power lies in staying true to who you are. And I believe you can have anything you want in the world, but never betray yourself and never forget who you are. So because of that, if you have this really strong foundation about your values, and you know who you are, and you use those, and you ignite passion around it, you put vitality around it, when fear comes along, because it will, there's the acronym FEAR. Many of you may have heard this before. FEAR is false evidence appearing real, which means it feels real, you think it's real, but again, it can be perspective. I like to say is that, you know, allow that to happen, but be scared and do it anyway. Be scared, acknowledge those feelings, be scared, because when you do something to refute fear, when you do the hard things and you get through you get to the other side and you're like, oh, I'm okay, I'm still here, I'm still breathing, I'm still showing up, then that starts to build your confidence. It starts to build resiliency. You know, one of the things I do, I love that Lisa talked about the journaling and you know, that conscious reframing of things. One of the things that I do is I also journal, and I record my wins, my wants, my gratitudes. And I do that every day. And as I'm doing that, I'm recording wins, which is recording that it's collecting evidence that shows I've gone through something difficult. I'm then changing the story. Again, I'm rewriting that story that perhaps I didn't think I could, you know, write a book. Well, I wrote a chapter today. I wrote another chapter. I made a call to a publisher. You know, I'm recording every win along the way that's building that strength and resiliency so that you can keep going. And the more you do that, because you're right, those fears, I've been in this business, I'm in my 18th year, almost 2 decades of doing this. And I can tell you, it still comes. I mean, last year was a great example of it coming even more so than you thought. It's still going to come, and no one can escape the challenges, the obstacles, the fears, the limiting beliefs that come in. So you can take that and go, take a deep breath. I got this. I got this. And you can start to do the things that will allow you to move through it. And the more you do it, the stronger you get, the more you can start to change that story. I did my biggest challenging thing in my career this past March. I was invited to record a TV show called Speak Up, and I had to fly to a recording studio. It was a TED Talk type event, come up with my own topic. In fact, my topic is how to rewrite your story. So I talk about how I went against myself. Very early on, I had something happen where I took an aptitude test and someone told me that I was only qualified to be at the level of a secretary. And so I shut down that creativity. And it wasn't until I came into coaching, I re-embraced my values, my creativity. And, and so anyway, I had the speaking event and I told myself, I've done hundreds of speaking talks, but never in front of a live studio audience with no teleprompter, with no notes, 15 minutes talking on my own that's going to be put out to Prime Video for the world to see. And I was terrified for months. And I just kept waking up every day and envisioning myself being on that stage, being successful. How did I want to feel when it was over with? I wanted to feel good. I wanted to feel strong. I wanted to feel like I gave a message that was inspiring to others. And every day that fear came up and I'm like, I got this. And I just kept writing in my journal, I want to feel like I've been an inspiration to others in the world. I got this. You got this. And every day I wrote that. Every day I took action. I let the fear be there and I did it anyway and took the risk, did the really resiliency and made it through. It was released in May and was so excited. And, the more you do it, my confidence went up, so every time you do these actions to refute that and you move through it, you're going to build that confidence, resiliency, and your mind will start to shift into, ooh, if I can do that, what else can I do? So it sort of feeds itself and builds up, which is fantastic. So that fear just, it's, I'll give one last quote. Elizabeth Gilbert, who wrote the book, Eat, Pray, Love, or she wrote the book she's known for. She also wrote a book called Big Magic. And here she is, an international best-selling author. She had Julia Roberts play her in a movie. So that's kind of cool. Who can say that Julia Roberts played them in a movie? And she said, every time she sits down to write, to put pen to paper, that fear overwhelms her, even though she's had this huge success. So she decided that fear would be her constant companion. She has acceptance that fear will be there. However, she also said that fear does not get to have a vote. So she makes the decisions, she makes the choices, and fear is right there along with her. So for all of you out there, just be scared, do it anyway, take those risks, and one day at a time, just keep moving forward and you'll get there. It's great.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. I know this is hitting the audience because I see some folks have responded to it. So thank you for sharing that so authentically. When you talked about the fear and just doing it and just getting into that flow, when you think about success, right? This whole event is about success secrets that's going to help us to level up in our impact, our confidence, and everything else. The big word there is actions, right? And you talked about that. Even though the fear is there, we need to take the action steps. Even if it's small, but we need to do it consistently and just keep on moving. And something that bubbled up for me when you were talking about this is kind of when I talked to Terry Wade, right? She was talking about the fact that sometimes what holds a lot of people back is the fear, but also not knowing the how. And she was like, they're waiting to figure out the how and they're not taking any action whatsoever. And they're overwhelmed and they're feeling like, oh my God, I can't do this. Right? So now their confidence is not getting built because guess what? The action is not being taken. They're not going towards it. So I want to go over to Terry. Terry, I know you talk very passionate about this and you kind of tied in some of the work that you do from a spiritual perspective and with the law of attraction and all of this. I would love for you to open up the dialogue and bring that to this table, this conversation. The floor is yours.
Definitely. Oh, happy to. I wanted to say quickly, just a little bit about background about me. So when I was younger, I was bullied every day. It was a whole Cinderella story. I had two stepsisters that just, made me like the household maid person. And I was just so excited to have sisters and I was just a very kind person. And then, with all that bullying, I had such a low self-esteem and self-worth. 8 years old, I had a whole plan to end my life. I saw my dad had a gun, put a plan together. But then thank God I didn't, but that low self-esteem and that low self-worth really like was brought with me throughout, my, years after that. I did go through some therapy. And I was so lost and confused and like, why are we here? What are we doing? What's our purpose? So I really fell in love with the movie The Secret when I saw that. And I hired Lisa Nichols and Bob Proctor because I wanted to figure out what's the secret? How do we use law of attraction? And then through that, I really built this spiritual foundation. I had a boyfriend that was murdered. And from there, I was lost one day and I was like, I need you here. I need you to hug me. I need some comfort. And then I had no spiritual foundation at all. So at that point, I felt the warmest embrace. And I was like, oh my gosh, like this feels more real than the real world. And so from there, I got into spirituality and I realized that love, that deep peace, and we have that connection to source. And that's who we are. Like we are love, we are peace, we are meant to live joyously. And then I realized we are made in God's image and God is the creator. So we have that ability to create. So what I do in the morning, I started teaching A Course in Miracles. And what we do, what I do, a lot of course students and teachers do this, is when you wake up, you just say like, you connect, just get connected and thank God I'm alive. I have so much gratitude for life now. So I just say, what would you have me do? What would you have me go? What would you have me say and to whom? And I let myself be guided in everything I do. So it's not so much force and pressure and stress on me because I like surrender to what can I do for the greater good of everyone. And then that's how I lead my life. And so it doesn't feel overwhelmed. And so I love this whole summit, it's like level up and thrive because like, when you say level up, it's stepping into your truth, into who you truly are, because we are like, we're just like, we are powerful creators. Like we can do anything. So that leveling up is just being you, being authentically you, stepping into your truth, into your power. That's where that level up comes from, is connecting to the truth of who we are. So that's where like spirituality plays a part, just because I feel like we are spirit, having this human experience at this moment. But we can do anything we want to. And the law of attraction, I love the law of attraction. And Bob Proctor says what precedes the law of attraction is the law of vibration. So I talk a lot about the law of vibration and getting into the vibe by understanding subconscious mind. I love Dr. Joe Dispenza as well, who he talks about, breaking the habit of being you and shifting into a new paradigm and stepping into a new life. So it's a lot of what I teach. So once I was so low and I just built my self-love, self-belief. I launched an abundance mastermind. I also do one-on-one coaching. And then I'm writing a book about happiness. So I'm super excited for that to come out. But I love life so much. So for me to go from that super down low point to now being able to just love life and know that anything's possible and step into my power, even though I'm not, perfect, still kind of mumble and stutter. There's a point in my life where I just was like a mute for a couple of years. So for me to even be able to show up and talk to, everyone here and everything I do in the world, it's just been so transformative, but it's all in just connecting to who I am and in our truth. So that's me. Thanks, Busines.
No, I love what you were talking about. So I want to just dive a little into that how, right? Because a lot of times when we go into the entrepreneur space and we're thinking that we need to know everything, or there's a big obstacle and like, how do I do this? And we hold ourselves back. So I know we had that conversation around the how piece. Talk to the audience about how you look at the how and how you reflect on it and just remove that obstacle, because that's a big one. I don't know, raise your hand, panelists, if sometimes the how, sometimes it can be the scariest part for your clients or even for yourself.
Yeah.
So as you can see, everyone has experience. So talk to us a little about that, and then we'll open up a different dialogue from there.
I think maybe it was Jackie that also talked on not needing to know the how so much, but the how will present itself when you're vibrating at that level of your wish fulfilled already. So it's like, okay, so if I was this, multimillionaire entrepreneur, what would I be doing? So you're stepping into that person. And once you step into that person, then those ideas come to you. But if you're coming from your current level of being, you're not going to get those ideas. But when you step into that higher version of yourself, you've leveled up into, the best version of you, that multi-million-dollar you, then you vibrate in that level, kind of let yourself sit in that vibration. Then those ideas come to you. So you don't need to know the how right now, but the how will present itself to you once you step into that person who has done it already. And so it sounds kind of like, I was like in this crazy limbo for a while. I was like, how am I supposed to know what to do? Like, how is this that person? That's not me. I'm not that person. But then you just kind of like repetitively, you know, affirmations, like put yourself in that new vibration, visualizing it, getting clear, feeling the feelings of it's done, it's done, it's done. And then what do I do? So it's like, it's done. And now I'm going to do a level up summit with these amazing speakers and bring value to my audience. And they're going to see it and they're going to love it. And they're going to sign up and work with me, things like that.
No, I love when you had that conversation, because I know that's sometimes some things I struggle with, and I know my clients struggle with it too. And a lot of time we get stuck in the overwhelm and not take any action because we're so scared of, I don't know what the next thing is going to be. But the reality is creating that level of alignment. And as you guys dive into these experts videos, you're going to see that conversation goes really rooted and really deep. And they're going to give you strategies that you're going to be like, oh, okay, I can do this when this is bubbling up. I can take this action. And they're also sharing like phenomenal resources as well. With that being said, I wanted to open it up for this audience, because they were selected because they bring so much value in the way they look at their business and how they have able to scale their business. So I wanted to just open it up for who would like to jump on this one. Is what, when you're thinking about someone in that starter bucket and understanding how critical mindset is, what would be some of the non-negotiable from that courageous mindset, that $1 million mindset? What would be a non-negotiable for you, for that person in that starter bucket? And we'll go through all the other buckets, but I want to make sure everyone is walking away with one nugget from you guys that maybe you did not share in our private video, so that they could go out there and watch it. Who would like to kick us off? I'm just like, who's ready? Perfect. I'm gonna go with Jackie. She didn't say she was ready, but Jackie's always ready, so I'm just gonna go.
All right, awesome. Sure, let's do this. I'm a fly by the seat of the pants kind of girl. So the question is, what is my nugget of inspiration about mindset for the startup entrepreneur? Okay, yeah, got it. Great. Gosh, so I guess the first thing that comes to mind is it's harder than you think it's going to be. How inspiring is that? You know, but I just want to be straight. Because it's hard doesn't mean it's not yours to do. Because it doesn't all unfold easily doesn't mean that, you know, that you're not the one to do it. So one of our fabulous speakers, you guys are amazing, said, you're stronger than you think you are. You have more resilience than you think. And I just want to echo that. So the non-negotiable, you know, for me, and again, somebody said this earlier, is to really focus on your why. You know, part of my work is I have people create an intentional context for the living of their life. And what I mean by that context is creating a vibratory field based on what you value, who you are, which is your mission, your purpose, which is to grow in consciousness, and then your vision. So I don't get to the what until we really ground yourself in the who and the why. So who are you? Why are you doing this? Like, why spend your life this way? And when you're clear on that, that's what pulls me out of, you know, I'm definitely not in the startup phase. I've been doing this for 30 years, actually. Been in the coaching field for a long time. I'm an old school coach. I like saying to younger coaches, I've been coaching since you were alive. So know that it's hard, but hard doesn't mean it's not yours to do. And when you feel like you're at the end of your rope, I remember being there, just like, I cannot do this. What am I going to do? Am I going to have to go get a job? Oh my gosh. When you're at the end of that rope, grounding yourself in who you came here to be. And who you came here to be is stronger than any resistance that you will ever know. So that's just off the cuff, Felecia. I hadn't thought about it ahead of time, and I hope that inspires a couple of people.
I have no doubt it inspired. I see a so true just came out here in the chat. So absolutely, you nailed it on there. So we're gonna have one more person talk up to that audience, and then we'll shift to folks that's in the momentum and in the scaling bucket. So everyone is walking away with one strategy that he can implement. Then I want us to save some time for Q&A, because I want these beautiful ladies and a few good men to be able to ask some questions and, you know, be part of this dialogue as well. So why don't we have one more person? Lisa, I saw your hand first. Lisa, the floor is yours.
Thank you. So yeah, so important throughout every phase, but I learned this the hard and expensive way in the beginning phase is to, and you know, with the people that I work with, this is why I chose the people that I work with, is I like to say I help entrepreneurs out of the business strategy rabbit hole, because it becomes so easy to over rely on business strategy and chase all of the shiny objects. So, a lot of times when you're first starting out, it's like, okay, you have to create your email list funnel and your nurture sequence and your, there are like 20,000 things that are thrown at you that are all positioned and marketed as must do's and must haves. That leads to burnout, overwhelm, and a lot of spending of money that could be better invested, to be honest with you, in your business to directly help you do what's going to move the needle, which is getting clients, right? That's what you need. So if you're sitting there and you're like, oh, this person speaks about this person speaks about that. Oh, that's how that person did it. Try to bring it in. And this is why self-awareness is so big. Self-awareness also helps you focus on the awareness of what is right for your business at that moment. So don't get too overwhelmed in the strategy, and don't think that, okay, it's not working, I need more strategy, because that's the knee-jerk reaction that I see happening so often, and that I did myself. I need more strategy. I need a better funnel. I need a better this. I need a better that. But my question to you that I would love for you all to sit on and make this your first journal prompt, right, is what good is any strategy if your mindset is not yet up to speed to carry that strategy out, right? And so that is just, keep it simple, be aware of the stage of business that you're in and what you need at that moment. That's going to help you get to that number one thing, which is, getting clients, bringing in revenue, because from there, you can then move forward, and you don't want to burn out, because it's an amazing journey. And please, you take this trip once, right? You take this trip once, whatever your goal is, whatever your point Z is, don't just focus on that, because the personal growth that you are going to go through, that magic happens in the in-between. It doesn't happen at the Z. It happens at that point in between. Meeting and connecting with amazing women like that I'm blessed to connect with today on this panel, that didn't happen at my Z. I'm still very much, I'm at maybe my D, right? And if I wasn't someone who was used to walking with that consciousness switched, flipped on, this would just be like, okay, I'm getting further. But it allows you to really be in there and appreciate and enjoy and be in the moment and understand that you are making progress, and that your life and that you as a person are really blossoming and developing. It's not just your entrepreneurial journey, everyone. It is your personal growth and development journey that is happening at the same time. Please be aware of it and appreciate it.
So good. And I love that you talked about your personal journey, your life. This is your life. Part of this event is, how do we do everything we want to do? More impact, more confidence, more resilience, more profitability, without compromising our life or our sanity. And a lot of times we get that burnout, we're compromising. We end up in a hospital bed, right? At the brink of losing your child. All of these things happen to us because we don't take the time to do the things that these powerful women are just talking about here. We don't take the time to slow down, to speed up. So with that being said, so I feel like we poured into the cup of everyone that's in the starter bucket. Guys, take this, run with it. Let's start to pour into the cups of the folks that are in that momentum. They're getting their stuff. They have numbers, they have sales coming in. They're starting to go to that next level. And now they're starting to bump up against some of the things that you guys probably have experienced in the past and have worked through. What would be that one takeaway that you would share generously with this audience? I'm going to go to Jennifer, then I'll come back to Charlene, and then we'll come back. Guys, just take yourself off the mute. Let's just keep the stuff going there. But I'm going to go to Jennifer, and then I'm going to go to Charlene. I can feel the energy rising. I can't wait. Go.
So I would say, if you're in that, things are happening, you've got some synergy going, you've got some energy going. I'm going to actually relate it back to something Lisa said, and also Jackie, is that it's also easy at that point to work more. It's tempting to go, oh, well, I've got all this business, I have, 5 more people I'm working with. I can just squeeze them in. I can start working weekends. I can start working nights. It's really tempting to do that when this starts happening. So I think a couple things is, again, if you're very grounded, stay true to yourself, ask yourself, do I really want to do this? Is this something I want to do, or is it a should? But the bigger piece I want to say is the self-care part, because to me, what I say to clients is self-care must be part of your business plan. It's part of your plan. If you are doing consistent self-care, if you're journaling, if you're getting quiet, you're keeping your consciousness, you're keeping it where it needs to be, you will allow yourself and give yourself permission to do the things in life that will continue to feed you, to feed your soul, to make sure that you can continue to stay on this journey. If you're working all the time, but you're not connecting with your friends or the people you love, you're not getting fed. You're not getting that piece of what you need. So you really have to know thyself, know what you need, and to keep that self-care part really, again, part of your plan, because it's very tempting to put aside those things. It's very tempting to say, oh, I'll see my friends next month. I can do, take out for my family one more night. I can do these. It's very easy to get into that. And before you know it, again, that burnout can be it can sneak up on you before you know it. I know I've had that happen. And it takes, once you hit that burnout, or once you get to that overwhelmed place, when you've been doing it a long time, it can take some time to get back to where you need to find that steadiness, to find your so-called sweet spot. And when you lose that inspiration, and when you've hit that burnout, it can take the energy it takes to get back to where you need to be, to recover, to rest, or hopefully not, if you get sick, because our bodies know. I think it's important to know your body. Our bodies know, and it will shut you down when you need to. Our bodies know before we do. So if you do not take care of your body, mind, spirit, soul throughout this process with the self-care that you need, then you're really setting yourself up for, at some point, you will hit that moment where you burn out, you shut down, suddenly you lose motivation, or perhaps all those clients that you work so hard to get go away. And so, again, self-care must be part of your business plan.
Now, I love that you mentioned the self-care needs to be part of your business plan. I hope everyone captured that one. We need to put that one in asterisks for all of us. The faster we scale, if you want to really scale your business, it's going to start with you. Because when you break down, ain't nothing else happening, right? Your leadership and your self-awareness is the critical piece to help you to scale your business to the utmost, whatever that looks like for you. So I want to open it up for the rest of the folks that's on the audience. I know, Charlene, you raised your hand like you had something, like you just were dying to share. And I want Adrienne to get in part of this conversation as well. Then we're going to transition into some Q&A for the audience. So audience members, start thinking about your questions. You have a panel of experts that's here to provide value to you. So I'm going to open it up for you, Charlene, and then I'm going to open it up for you, Adrienne, as well.
So great. Yes. When you're starting to get really busy, I think self-care is so important in managing your time. And I'm a single mom, and I know what it's like to balance family, to balance work, to balance everything. It's very challenging. And as an entrepreneur, when you begin to get busier, the business is our baby and we want to do everything, absolutely everything. But that is really kind of a red flag at some point. You've got to outsource, you've got to delegate, you've got to hire an assistant, because if you don't hire an assistant, you are the assistant, and you don't want to be the assistant. You want to grow your business. And then really thinking about and planning where you want to go next. So maybe you want 6 million in sales. Well, how do you get there? Reverse engineering what it is, what it will take to get there. And then really focusing on those revenue generating activities, hire a team, outsource as much as you can, look at everything you're doing. What do you enjoy? And try to spend your time where you enjoy, or building and growing your business, and then get other people to do those things that you don't like as well. And then something I wanted to mention earlier is about taking action. It's so important to continue to take action and keep growing. Something my mom told me when I was little it's kind of a silly saying, but it's a great saying, is God helps those who help themselves. And I always tell myself that whenever I'm kicking back, waiting for an opportunity, waiting for something to happen, I say, what are you doing? You're waiting on something to come to you, and you have to go out there and get what you want to happen next. So really, God helps those who help themselves. If you are waiting on someone, it's not happening, you have to find a new path, plan B, C, D, E, and F. Those are my two big pieces of advice.
I love that. So when you said God will help those who help themselves, I was like, oh, your mom and my mom is talking, because I used to hear that all the time. Get into action, get into action. You got to start. He's going to help you once you get into action. So I love that you shared that. So Adrienne, the floor is yours. I'm excited for you to, add to the conversation. I can't wait. Let's go.
Thank you. And yeah, I love everything that's been said so far. I had to take a few notes here to like keep my head on straight. For those people too who are in the mid part of their business, I also want to remind you, like, some stuff is also organic. It takes a while to build a body of work, to build a client base, to build a reputation, for word of mouth to start. I know I fall into this where sometimes I'm like, I wish I would have done this sooner, or I wish I would have known this. And then when I pull myself back to think about it, I was like, it is all happening as it's supposed to. And yeah, and just really prioritizing, right? Like if you were only going to do 3 things today, like to number 1, take care of yourself, like what would it be? Carving out that time, maybe you have to book it in your schedule. Most of us do, otherwise it just slips away. And then also in your business, just really what are the things that are really going to make a difference? And as they were saying just earlier, is where you can get help. You can't be an expert in everything. So really get people who know what they're doing to then everything just gets better. Everything gets lifted. So yeah. And I have one other thing, and this goes back a few steps, but is like, there's this term that I've heard and it comes up all the time, is like the compare and despair, right? Like in social media, it's ripe with that. Like we're looking at all of these other people doing awesome work. It's all a highlights reel. So just, looking to other people as maybe examples, best practices, support, but not as a means of self-judgment and getting yourself down. That's when you need to reconnect, remember that why, stay on your path, take, again, all the simple steps. Takes a lot of simple, small steps to get to very big goals.
Thank you so much, Adrienne, for the reminder, because you are so right. Sometimes we're moving so fast that we're not enjoying the journey as we go along. And I remember even in my career, there's times I don't even remember. I just was going for the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. And now I'm looking back like, oh my God, why didn't I slow down and enjoy? Because it was so much fun, but I didn't experience it. So I love that you're talking about that level of intentionality. So I want us to transition into our Q&A portion of this event. And we're getting some really great questions. So guys, feel free to put the questions on the main chat so that the speakers can see the questions as well. And I love if you want to share it live, that's beautiful. But if you don't, I'll be your voice on this journey. I'll ask the question. So the first question we got, and it's from Zoom user. So I don't know your name, so I would love to give you props for it because you have some really good thoughts here and some questions. And you're talking about, there is, let me try to put this into words before strategy. Okay, so we're talking about there is a stage, like a little dormant stage before the strategy starts showing up with any results. So how do you keep the vibe in alignment with what is intended and prevent you from falling back to the vibration that's not serving you? So that's a really good question, really thought-provoking question. So as you're growing your business and maybe in that dormant stage, it's just not firing as fast as you need, you want it to go, but how do you keep yourself in alignment and keep your vibe in alignment so you're at that higher level and not dropping down? So who would like to tackle that question? I think that is a powerful question. So thank you so much, Zoom user. Lisa wants to go for it. Lisa, floor is yours.
Sure, why not? I really appreciate that question, and I can relate to it because when I was coming out of this really bad headspace with dealings with, just toxic relationships, that was a concern of mine. Am I going to fall back into these patterns of not believing in myself? And when I started my business, am I going to go back to being the lazy girl who sleeps until, 12 o'clock in the afternoon and has her parents like, you're not awake yet? So the answer to that is, don't just strive to hit those vibes, that higher vibration in your business, right? And this is why I connect that personal growth journey along with the entrepreneurial growth, because they are both very much interconnected. So strive to hit those higher vibrations just overall as your overall energetic level and how you live your personal life. Because what we do one way in one aspect of our life, we tend to do in other aspects of our lives. It will eventually carry over, right? Because you're right, there is a period of time where the momentum has to build. And that's another reason why it's really important to have deep roots in your why, right? The why for your business, the why for whatever it is that your goal is. It has to be something even bigger than yourself that you could really attach to. And in my book, I write that a lot of these people who you see moving from one project to the other, and it's like, wow, they're just out there killing it, right? It's because they don't look at their goal like, oh, okay, I didn't get my beach body this summer, womp womp, let's try again next year. It's not that type of attachment to their goal. They have an attachment to their goal where it's like, if I don't get this done, the world won't be that better place for it. And I need to make the world a better place for this having, this getting done. I need to make a difference in these people's lives. So find that why that is even bigger than you, and make sure that you're practicing and getting into a habit of stepping into that vibrational, that highest self, and leading in all aspects of your life with that big soul energy. And it is going to carry you through that phase where it seems like not much is going on in your business. And then all of a sudden it's going to be like, oh, wow, okay, this is happening now.
Jennifer, the floor is yours.
I love what you said, Lisa. So true, especially that knowing your why. That's something I continue every year to ask myself if my why is still the same why after doing this for so long. But I would like to add to that. And I think for me, I always say that God is on my board of directors. And I have a deep faith that I've brought my spiritual practices into my work, but I've also brought self-trust into it. I've really developed my intuition. I trust myself. I trust that there's something I like to say, this or something better. God, bring me this or something better. And it's my job to pay attention to the signs that come to me, my intuition. It's okay to change course if I need to, if I really believe that I need to maybe pivot in some small way, like I thought I needed to do this. And then I start to get this sense or feelings or other things, people pop into the space. It's not about abandoning it as long as it's still going toward the bigger why of what I'm doing. I don't think our path is a straight path. It's sometimes zigzags. You go over here a little bit and you go over there a little bit, and you have to pivot and you have to dance with what's being brought to you. As long as you're grounded, really grounded into your why, grounded into the impact you want to have into the world. And so for me, I've developed a very strong, again, that's intuition, that self-trust, that spiritual part that is a part of my business. And that is with me every single day in the decisions I make. And, again, when I talked earlier about fear, I so often see people in exactly the question you presented to us, Felecia, about, when you're waiting for it to happen, that can be the hardest moment. You go out there, you do the work, and it just hasn't happened yet. That space is a tough place to be. That is when the fear comes in, the limiting beliefs. So again, if you use some of the tools that the speakers have all talked about, again, getting that mindset in and trusting and having your faith coupled with that and keep going, then I think that you can continue to move in the direction in which you've set your goals out to be. But faith for me and self-trust, intuition are all a big part of it.
No, I love that you brought that to the conversation because I think it's so important. As folks who are joining our Facebook group, I'm asking a question like, what do we want to get out? A lot of folks are talking about the need for that balance, that work-life balance. Like, I want to be able to do my business and have the life at the same time. And what I'm hearing from all of you guys is a need for harmony. We get to create the business our way. We don't have to create it Jackie's way. You don't have to create it Lisa's way. You don't have to create it Jennifer's, Adrian, Charlene's, my way. You got to do it your way. Whatever works for you, but take the practices, whatever resonates with you, take it, run with it. And if it doesn't, let it go. But I love that you brought that to the conversation there because I think we all need to hear this. We have another question. Sabina asks, so how do you move from a business closure? And as we know, in 2020 was a hard year for a lot of folks, right? And beyond, business is closed. So how do you move from a business closure to being back into that higher vibration? So it's from fast versus slow. So she said vibration fast versus slow.
First thing that, so first of all, thank you for the question, Shabina. And I want to just acknowledge that you're grieving, a business closed. So the first thing to do to shift your vibration is just feel what you're feeling. And allow that to be okay. Grief, disappointment, sadness about having that experience, just let that be there. That's the first thing. It's okay. It's not going to last forever. The second thing is I do work with my coaching clients about getting to neutral when they're in a low vibratory pattern. People think, oh, I have to go from low to high. I have to go from slow to fast. I have to raise my vibe. Well, no, it's really, first of all, it's not that linear. Our vibratory pattern goes up and down in its vibrational quality all the time. But as you focus on it, as you pay attention, your vibratory pattern slowly rises over time. So you will be, I say, connecting to a higher level of the energetic matrix over time as you raise your vibe. But when you've gone through a grief, a loss, a disappointment, feel the feelings, then get yourself to neutral by, once you've acknowledged the feelings and you're ready to shift, start thinking about, okay, now what? My question of myself is, how does God want to express through and as me in this new phase, in this new experience? So start asking yourself those inner questions, looking for the inner guidance. So one is allow it. Second is don't try to go from low to high. Just allow yourself to move. What's the next high, what's the next highest level? Maybe you're like, pissed off and I'm like, not doing this again. And okay, got it. What's the next level? Well, the next level might be, all right, well, I'm really unhappy with this. Got it. And then what's the next level? Until you can just get yourself to a place where you're neutral. Like, okay, that happened. Acceptance, surrender. That happened. In that space, you start being able to raise the vibe much more, just much more easily because you don't have the weight of that lower vibratory pattern. And again, I spoke to this earlier, the 3 C's: catch it, challenge it, and change it, about your thoughts and emotions. But the emotions, first of all, have to be felt. They have to be felt. The thoughts, they're always going. Your brain is not designed for you to thrive. Your brain is designed for you to survive. So when you start thinking about that next thing, automatically your thoughts are going to be like, oh, no, don't do that again. Because your brain is designed for your survival, not to take risks, not to push the envelope. Learning how to talk back to that, reframe that, is a certain gift. But, I would say if you're in that low vibe, okay, I got that. Just allow yourself to feel it. It's okay. You're not going to, I don't know too many people that walk around just high vibing all the time. So peace out to you, Shabina, and bless you for your journey. We're all right there with you.
That was such a good, and I love that you brought that to the conversation, brought it to the table, because we're all going through this. And a lot of time we don't give ourselves the grace to just feel it. I remember when I lost my job, got eliminated from a corporate space after 18 plus years, my heart is in this. I've built this and now it's gone. And I didn't do some of the things you talked about. I didn't give myself chance to grieve. So it's until I did that and I took it in and I said, yes, this allowed me to show up even bigger because I have all these skills. I have this, but if I didn't grieve, I would still be sitting on the sidelines talking about doing one of these events. So I love that message you shared for everyone. It's a powerful one. And I'm glad we're recording this so folks can have that one for future if they need to replay it. But I was looking at faces as we're talking about here. I feel like Adrian's face is like saying, like, she's like dying to get in on this conversation. Like, you keep on doing one of these. So Adrian, the floor is yours. I love it for you to get into this conversation. And thank you, Jackie.
Well, I loved everything that Jackie said. And, when I hear this, I just think of my personal journey. So this is not business related, but yeah, they got my worst moments. And when I was just entering my recovery very fresh, I felt horrible and full of shame. And I felt physically very awful. But one of the most valuable lessons, and it took a while, and I agree with Jackie, like you need to feel things. And I was very uncomfortable feeling things. My coping mechanism was to numb them out because I didn't like them. So I did have to feel them, but when I felt them, they moved through. And then the other thing was, I chose not to be defined by my worst moments, so Shabina, I just say to you, like, we don't have to, we can fail and not, I've failed so many times. I'm not saying that you failed, but we don't have to be identified as that. It's like, where are the lessons in this? Like, I learned a lot, but I was like, what am I going to do with all of this raw material to move forward? Like, how can I own this and take all of these lessons? And I love the message came up earlier about creating, like, how do I create a life I love? How do I create a new business that I love? And I mean, it's the balance sheet, but it's also, what does your day look like? What does your life look like? Who's on your team? Who do you collaborate with? Like, all of these things can bring you a lot of joy. So I imagine you've learned a ton, and I'm excited to see what you do with that, because it reminds me too of that, Brene Brown quotes, and it's that famous quote at the beginning of her book, Daring Greatly. You guys can chime in and tell me who said it, because it's escaping me at the moment, but like, you're in the ring, like you're having these experiences, you're getting sweaty, you're getting dirty, and you're doing it, and you're going to do it again.
That was so powerful. So I'm so happy you shared that information. I'm just looking to see if anyone wants to jump in here. So what I want to just transition here for a second is, you guys are definitely, I appreciate you for coming on here and sharing all your wisdom with the audience. And I've been seeing all the chats, so I have no doubt folks are like, oh my goodness, this is going to be such an epic, whole event here. So tell the audience, why should they really take the time and schedule the time to watch your video? Like, what is going to be some of the things that they're going to get from it, and why should they take the time to do that? Because we know life is busy, but sometimes we need to slow down in order to accelerate, in order to get to where we need to get to. So who would like to kick that off? And then we'll just have our call to action for the group. Go, you're Adrienne, floor is yours.
I'm opting to start because our interview was all about like keeping it really, really simple. So, as I said, intentional living is all about how you're choosing to show up for yourself. And I think when you listen to this and then build on it with what everyone else has to share, you're going to be in awesome shape. And sometimes we think, oh my God, that sounds so simple. Like, I could do that. It's like, yeah, but you have to do it. You have to like put these things into place. But I'm telling you that it's all of the simple, consistent choices that you make all the time that make a big difference. And I encourage you to listen to all of them, because, everybody's going to have different words and examples. So piece together what really speaks to you and make it your own. And maybe you even come back in a few months and listen again, because you're like, oh, I need something different now. So I think that you're going to get a lot from everything, because Felecia, you've done an amazing job coordinating this. So thank you.
So who would like to go next? Thank you, Adrienne. Appreciate you. Jennifer, so we're going down the line.
Yes, I love that, Adrienne, about the simplicity of things. In my video, I call it Uncover Your Values, Align with Authenticity, Ignite Your Passion, and Create an Unshakable Mindset. And, my work has been very rooted from the very beginning of being a coach, of really understanding who you are. And I do that as a process with my clients through values. But when you really are really grounded and know who you are, it's kind of like the analogy of a kite. So if you imagine flying a kite, and you're rooted, you're down holding the kite and the string, and you're rooted in the ground, and you hold that kite, the kite can go up in the air and flit and twirl and dance and have this beautiful experience, but it's rooted down to you holding it. So no matter what you experience and what you're trying to create for your life, for your business, for anything that you want to create, when you are rooted to yourself and you have that alignment, then to be honest with you, it gives you huge freedom. It gives you the freedom to be yourself. It gives you discernment in making these choices. We've all talked about being choiceful and intentional. It'll be really easy to make those choices when you know who you are and when you give yourself permission. And I love what, Adrienne said about, the words in which we use. All of us who are up here speaking to you have had our own experiences, and we have our own creativity, and I'm a wordsmith, I'm a writer, I love words, but I know that not all of my words will resonate with you. So something I learned years ago, and part of my studying and learning, there's something in Kabbalah that says, if it does not resonate with you, do not take it on. If it doesn't resonate with you, don't believe it, don't take it on. But I hope will hear many things that do resonate, that you will be inspired. So again, take what you want from each of us. Everyone who's been on this panel today is amazing and comes with their own style and creativity. They're bringing their values and they're bringing who they are into this work. So I hope that you will listen to all of ours, and there will be much richness to listen to. And also, again, I do love the idea of listening to them more than once. I know we're busy. Again, I talked about self-care. Go for a walk and listen to our podcast. So you're getting some exercise and you're getting to listen to it. And I know that if you listen to it more than once with each of us, you'll pick up different things at different times. So I think there'll be a lot of wisdom for you to tap into for many, many months and possibly years to come. So thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. That was beautiful. Why don't we go up to Lisa?
Okay, it took me a minute to find my mute button. Thank you. Yes, and I third with what everyone has said already. I know that I've gotten so much from listening to women with experiences and personalities that couldn't be more different. And you kind of, you pick and choose, and there will be something like what has already been stated that will resonate with you from what everyone says. Now, when Felecia and I did our talk, it was from autopilot to intentionality, own your shift. And, I'm very much about the empowerment and taking things into your own hand. And when you're on this journey, you're going to be told by a lot of people what you need. You know what you need. It comes back down to just having that self-awareness, being really in tune with yourself and what brings you fulfillment, and making those decisions and getting to a point where you trust your intuition and you allow these decisions to just flow intuitively. And when you're able to go from autopilot to intentionality, instead of sitting there spinning your wheels, second and third and fourth guessing yourself, you find that you get to this place where you can take decisive action and really be comfortable with it and really do it from a place of empowerment rather than, and I know because I spent a decade or better in this place where I allowed time and I allowed, circumstances to push me into my decision making rather than having the wheel in my hands firmly and making those decisions from a place of confidence. So, moving from that, that consumer mindset, being the consumer of all the information and being a consumer of all the different tools and strategies, to being a doer is so important, because so many of us, especially at the beginning, we sit on this pile of information and we just sit there and we don't know what to do with it, and we don't yet trust ourselves to implement it, the way that's going to serve us best. So yeah, going from autopilot to intentionality is super important and is so empowering, because you are your greatest asset in your life and in your business.
So good. You guys see why I've just totally leveled up just by listening to and being part of this conversation with these ladies. Let's go to Charlene and we'll wrap up with Jackie, and then we'll have a call to action for the group.
So like everyone else has said, definitely you can learn something from everybody you listen to. I'm a big believer in that. Even if it's just a sentence or something, it will just stick with you. So I think hearing different perspectives is always great. And in my video, I talk a lot about what's a big problem for women, and that's imposter syndrome. A lot of us don't feel like we really belong. We doubt ourselves, and self-doubt is really hard, but a lot of people struggle from that, more than 70% of people. So know that you're not alone. I give some tips for getting over that, tips for getting over self-sabotage, which is also another problem often for women. We can sabotage ourselves in business, and also just becoming more confident with money, our money mindset. Maybe we have some financial baggage that we're holding on to. Maybe, we're telling ourselves that we don't deserve to be successful. We don't deserve to have a lot of money, or it's bad, or something that we grew up with. So getting over all of those limiting beliefs and moving forward. I also talk a lot about work-life balance, which many of us have, but that's so critical for women because we often have a heavier load than men. That's just the reality. Not to say that men don't help, because they do, but often we have more to juggle. So just tips for that, and just doing all those things you can do to put yourself in this driver's seat and move your business forward.
As you guys see, this is like a master class happening here, all about mindset. So you definitely want to jump in. Jackie, the floor is yours.
Great. Yeah, sure. Thanks, everybody. It's really been an honor to be on this panel with each of you. So thank you, Felecia, again. I'm going to be a little counterintuitive, and I'm just going to be straight up. Don't watch my video unless you're willing to actually take the knowledge and do something with it. I like what Lisa said, about being a consumer instead of a producer. There's a huge difference between knowledge and wisdom. So I say knowledge actually doesn't make any difference. We all know that we should, eat less than we expend in calories. We should, put money away and save money, and yet we have trillions of dollars in national debt. So we all know things, but it's knowledge applied that creates wisdom that changes your life. So don't watch my video unless you're going to sit there, take notes, really think about the strategies around money vibe that Felecia and I talked about. And then if you dive in that way, the reason you should watch it is because you'll make more money. I went from homeless to 7 figures with the strategies and the mindset tools that I teach around money mindset. And I don't say that I say that with humility, that I've been in the trenches. I've seen how ugly it can be. And it really is as within, so without. And I'm just so grateful. So don't watch my video unless you're really committed to creating some transformation in your life, taking notes, putting those strategies to practice, and then emailing me 3 months later and be like, damn girl, you changed my life.
No, I love that. I have no doubt these folks are going to be able to email you before that time, right? Because they're all action takers. If you're attending an event, Level Up and Thrive, you're all about moving yourself to the next level. Now you have going to have some actionable strategies that you can take and just continue to grow. So from a call to action, before I even get started there, I just wanted to acknowledge each one of you and just from the bottom of my heart, just say thank you. Thank you for hearing the call and saying yes, because I know you guys are busy and there's so many moving parts, but you guys took the time to come on a panel. You took the time to record. You took the time to give all these free gifts for the audience. So I'm just in a place of gratitude for each one of you. And I'm in a place of gratitude for everyone who showed up here live with us and didn't drop off, right? They stayed with us. They asked some questions, just in a place of gratitude there for you as well. So as we round this out and to respect your time, I just want to call to action. We're just getting started. This was just a taste of all the things you're going to get in a Level Up and Thrive as we go along. So the first thing I would like you to do is think about accountability. Think about who's another woman, another man, someone you can go on this journey with together. Let's make sure we create a movement. Let's bring everyone on board. Share the link with them, get them all in here so that we can all level up and thrive, right? It's 2.2 million. Give me a break. That's just in the US. Think about it globally. How many women had a transition, right? Maybe they had to be there for their family, had to be there for their kids. They just have a gift inside of them and they wanted to just bring it out, right? So they decide to go after it. Let's create a movement. Let's get this information out there. Let's get people to sign up so that they can be part of the journey with us. That's the first call to action. The second call to action is exactly what Jackie talked about, right? You got to play all out, right? You got to be able to take some action because success likes action. If you're going to sit down and be a consumer like Lisa is talking about, you're going to continue struggle. You're going to be on that struggle bus. And we don't want any woman to struggle, because when we rise, the rest is taken care of, right? Because that's how powerful women are. So just play all out, take the action, schedule some time for you to be part of this journey. And number 3, this is a little bit different from any other summit you're going on. So every week we're going to have this live immersion with the speakers. So you get to know the speakers, get to know a little bit more about them. So when you go into their video, it's like you have a friend that you already know, and now you know they're going to give you something you can be able to take. So you can get that every Monday at 12 p.m. Eastern. And when it goes to Impact, we go I have a bonus for you. We'll go twice lives. So, hey, let's just get better and better. But during the week, what's going to happen is a video is going to drop. I think the first one is going to drop is Jackie's video is going to drop for you guys on Tuesday. Then another video is going to drop. I can't remember the flow of it. I think it's Charlene's video or one of these beautiful ladies' video is going to drop. So every day at 8 a.m. Eastern, you're going to get a new video, and you're going to get their free resources as well. And it's really great. So you're going to get all of that coming to you. And then the following week, that's the same momentum is going to happen. It's going to be next level confidence, right? So you're going to have speakers that's going to be talking about confidence. Then the next week, we're just going to go impact. How do we get profitability in our business? How do we get visibility? How do we show up to the people we want to lead, right? Then we're going to go into systematizing and process building processes within your business. Then we land the plane with sustainable momentum, because just like all these ladies talked about, it's a journey and it's going to be up and down. So therefore, we want to make sure you have the momentum to keep this going on. And as always, go into the Facebook group. We're going to have a thread in there for each of these powerful ladies. Put your questions in there, engage in that group, right? Let's learn from each other. Let's continue to level up and thrive.